Hello, this is Hani from Digital Logic with you today for another episode of Under the Macro. Today's episode we're going to introduce you to the iFootage wireless motorized control system, which you can see on the table here, and we've got the motor connected on the right hand side, which is where the normally the flywheel will go. Now there are a few videos online that talks to you about the iFootage Shark slider. It comes in two configurations, the standard and the S1 bundle, which basically gives you an extra set of carbon fiber rods, which allows you to extend the reach of the slider. In its short form, it's about 790 mil, and its extended version, or the S1 bundle, it's 1350 mils. You can also buy additional extension tubes, which you can go all the way up to 1.8 meters. At the moment, I've got it set up in its smallest form. It's an amazing high quality slider, and the best part about it that we have found is the way you can self-service the unit yourself. Every component is stripped down to a bare component, which without tools you can give it a clean, put it all together again, put the drive belt on yourself, again toolless, and you're ready to go. Another key factor that we have found also, traditional sliders, if they have the smooth surface where the bearings or the rollers run on, if you get like a scratch or a nick in these precision rollers or surface, that translates into the movement. And what we like about this, if you do get a scratch in transportation or out on set, you basically can loosen this knob here, turn the carbon fiber around, lock it off, and then you basically get a clean running surface again. So really, you know, you're ready to go again, and you get a good result. But additionally, let's say over time you get so many knocks and bangs and it becomes unusable, you can't find a clean surface. To buy a pair of rods, again, we're talking anywhere in the order of $150 to $200, and you get another set, a pair, and you get another belt drive. So not expensive to maintain for owner operators or people that want to own these things for a long time and keep maintaining and servicing them without having to send it to someone to get it done. So really impressive, really nice quality, really high finish. Now, there has been some demonstrations of their motion control system that they've shown at NAB. This is, I suppose, the first part of that, which basically gives you the motorized slide. But using the same controller, there'll be additional pan and tilt modules that you can put on here and use it with the same controller. And we're going to go through some of the basic setup, how you initially set it up. So again, it comes with a V-lock plate, and it's wireless, which is fantastic, no cables. V-lock battery comes in a little custom fitted case with all the different cables that you need for different cameras, so you can trigger the camera and control the camera shutter. So let's start it off. So the first thing you do, you basically loosen this knob off. So traditionally on a basic configuration, you're going to have the flywheel on this end. You basically release this anodized red nut here, the thumb screw. You take the flywheel off, and then this bracket connects onto here, and then you lock it down. You also have two levers underneath that release the motor tension that just allow you to hook the belt drive. If I loosen them up, you'll see that it will move forward. So you see that little bit of play that allows you to hook on the belt drive, put tension on it, and then lock it off. So once the physical connection's all done, you've got a D-tap cable that powers the module here. You basically, before you turn it on, just move it over to the start position, because that's going to set its 0 point. I'm going to power this on by pushing this red button, and then I'm going to power this on by pushing the red button here. You'll see the iFootage logo comes up. And now the first thing we want to do is use these joysticks and basically arrow across down to set and press enter here to go into set. And we want to set the distance to tell it what configuration we're running. Obviously, if you're running a 1.8 meter, then you just drive it to the end and you set the final point, and then it knows its parameters where it's going to be working within. So at the moment, I'm going to click into that. You can see it's 470, and then I'm going to use the dial, this one here, and I'm going to, let's just say I move it over to this point here, and I set that as the maximum distance I want to go. Then I press enter, and then you'll see that 386 now is set there, it's on save. And then I'm going to go back to the beginning. And now if I go into manual mode and hit enter here with this right button, now if I go backwards and forwards, you'll watch, it'll get to the end and it won't bang against it and hear that belt drive. It knows that's the starting point. Vice versa, if I go to the other way, it'll stop where I set that end point. And that's great because some of the other systems that aren't as intelligent, you basically have to control that start-stop point yourself, and sometimes you can end up hitting the maximum and the belt drive makes a real awful sound. So hitting this menu, this left button here gets you back to the main menu, and you can see some of the settings here. Let me go back into that and just move this camera out of the way. Go back this way, just so I can talk about this. So you can see these icons here on the X, where it's got a little icon of a joystick. Now you can actually go into there and you turn this dial, and you can see now it's a dial. You can set the speed. So if you got like 38 millimeters per second now, and then I move this, that's the speed it's running at. It's constant speed. Doesn't matter how much pressure I put on the joystick. Where if I turn that back and go to joystick mode, now if I move the joystick just a little bit, it's a variable speed basically, 3 mil. The more I press down on it, the faster it goes, up to 160 millimeters a second, because you can see maximum speed. So if you're not very good at controlling that speed and you just want to set it, you just turn this dial, set a speed, and then just push on it, and it will constantly go at 36 millimeters a second as we've set here. So that's one function you can quickly do, or you can go back to 0 and just do it manually. Now you will see other functions in the system. Again, I think it's been set up for the future add-ons that they're going to make for the pan and tilt. Let me go back into the menu here. There's really a lot of information to go through. I'm just going to go through some of the basics. So you've got the manual mode, which is obvious. You basically move the joystick and go forward and back. You've got auto mode. Now auto mode is when you go into that, you'll see it's got like an A and B point, but before you can go into there, you've got to go back to the record mode and set your points. So if I go into record, press enter, go into record, you see that little circle, the record button, and this is where my starting point is. I can hit that and it's going to record. So if I hit that, now it's recording, starting at 17 mil. If I move it, say to here and stop, it's stopped there, hit the enter, the stop button is there, press enter. Now I've set that, and I've set it to profile 1. There's 9 presets that you can set. So this is on preset 1. If I then go back to the main menu, you can see it took 9 seconds, and go to auto and press into the auto, I'll be able to bring up that profile 1. As you can see, it's profile 1 there. And then to change different profiles, you just go up and down in here, 1, 2. So you can set different paths, different presets. So I've set 1, and you can see it tells you there 17 to 276 mil. So it's going to start at 17 mil, and it's go to 276. That's the preset. And the other 2 down here are the ramp in and ramp out. So I can say ramping in, do it over 3 seconds. Again, you can go up or down, reduce it 2 seconds or whatever. You can go down, just pick, say 1 second. I'll make that 1 second. I'll go up and make it the same, make it even. So there's 1.1 second there for the ramp in, ramp out. You can also arrow across, and you can see the little tick there. I can disable it by just clicking down, click up again to enable it if you don't want to use the ramp in, ramp out function. Go down, and you can adjust this one as well. If you just want to turn ramping on and off, you can go to the little tick and just go down to turn it off, click up to turn it back on. So once you're happy with that, you go into this corner here, and if you arrow up, you can change from just start and stop one direction and end the motion, or you can loop it. So if I go up, that's the loop icon, and if I click down on that, let's see what happens. You'll get the ramp, and it'll hook up speed over that 8.9 seconds. It'll stop, and then it'll go back and start it again. And it'll just continually do that. And to stop it, you just press down on the stop button, and there it is. You see this little 0 there? That means if you click on it now, it'll go back to the starting point, and you'll see that if I press that down, it'll go back to the starting point, and you're ready to go again. And then once you do that, if you want to finesse the move, you can go into these dials, as I said. You can turn on and off ramping. Let's say I don't want any ramping on any of those, and then go back. Again, if you go up, you can change the different loop modes with just plain stop or loop. I'll just go loop play once and then press that, and that's turned off the ramps. So you can see that was constant from the very beginning. And to stop at any time, you can just press the stop. So it's finished that. It went through once and finished, and now I'm going to press it to go back to the starting point, get it out of the way. So that's how that mode works. If I press the left joystick here, it'll go back to the main menu. So we've just shown you how to go to record, set some presets by going down to these numbers here, and then different presets, selecting it and setting different moves. Once you do that, you can go into the record and play those moves. Manual mode was the first one we showed you, which is quite obvious, just controlling it manually. So we're going to go into the time-lapse mode here. Now, before you go into that, as we said before, when we went to the auto mode, we went to record, and we set those profiles. And I said to you, when you get those little numbers there that you go into, and you can use this arrow up and down to go through the number settings. So these are where the positions are recorded. You can see here it says 17 mil to 276 mil over 9 seconds, and that's number 1. So you've got to have some presets set into those profiles that we can use later for the time lapse. So if I go back to the main menu and I go back to time lapse, I go into that, and I'm going to select not the numbering mode, which is you tell it basically the number of shots you want to take, but I'm going to go into time mode. I go into there, press enter, and now I've got it here, total time. I want it to run for 10 minutes and 20 seconds. You can set up exposure time. You can set intervals between each shot. So I want to take a shot every 2 seconds, for example. That little arrow on the left here tells you that there's more to the menu system. So arrow down and you'll get more options. You can ease in. You can set up an ease in or an ease out value. And then also down here you can see total quantity total, which is 310 photographs that it's going to take. And you can see here the profile 1 is nominated at the moment. Now you can change these by moving this up and down. This is number 2, but I'm going to use number 1. And so if I want to play that, I'll basically go to play, and we've got this module here that's part of the kit, which in the kit includes a whole bunch of cables that goes into the remote port of the cameras. It's at the moment it's on. You can test it manually by just pressing that button. It's working. Again, it's wireless with the system like all the rest of it is. If I go in there now and just press play, you can see it's taking a photo. It's giving you the percentage that's running through, the time's ticking away, number of photographs, and it'll basically run that. And I think, it said at the very beginning it was 310 photographs, and it's going to gradually do that. Now, if you have preset a ramp, again, it works out the calculations or the maths to work out how quick it needs to build up that ramp to get the shots, so you get a nice smooth time lapse at the end. So I'm not going to run that for 10 minutes, but you get the idea of what you can achieve with it. The other cool thing is, whilst that's running, the circuitry in here has the presets set. So I can turn this controller off. So if you're going to run a time lapse for a day or whatever, you're worried about running out of battery, you can just turn this controller off. If I can find the button. Now that's turned off, as you can see. It's still running, doing its job. Then I can come back and turn this on, and you'll basically be left off where you were. See, at 43%. And this works on all the functions, on all the different modes. So it's quite handy. And to stop it, you can see there's a little pause button there. I can just press down on this, and that stops the function. Press this button to go back to the main menu, and you're back at the main menu. You've also got this shutter mode here. So again, depending on what you're doing, if you go into shutter, you can set the total number of photographs. Again, very similar to before, exposure, interval levels, and just run it that way and just press it. So if I go into them, 10 photographs, exposure 1 second, intervals at 2, and press play, it'll do the same thing. But it's obviously not moving. There's no path in there at the moment. So that's great if you just want to set it up and just get a horizon coming without any movement. You can use that function there. It's giving you total percentage going through it. Same thing, you can turn this off and on, and it will still work, which is quite handy. So that's reached the end and it's done. Go back to the menu system. So a really simple system there. There are some dials in here in the menu systems as well to help change values and that sort of thing. But it's quite a simple interface, the simple controls. And once you get in there and figure out what button does what, basically this is a navigation, this is to enter, this is to go back. Once you figure all that out, it's really, really simple. I pretty much had 15 minutes to play with it, quickly went through the manual, just a little booklet. And then really the rest of it was just playing with it and doing a few tests. So I think, somebody grabbing it for the first time, probably half an hour in prep, just understanding the controls, they'd be pretty comfortable with what you can achieve with this sort of system. And I think what's even more exciting is when they start to release the pan and tilt head, where you can get motion, where you can record and rewind a movement and play it multiple times. It's obviously going to be quite exciting. So these are currently available. If you want to come down and have a look at it and have a play or have a demo, please feel free to come on down, and they're currently available in sales and rentals as well. Thank you for watching another episode, and we'll see you on the next one.